orphanage. You grew up nice and sheltered with mama's pretty stories and your own made up fury. And mama gave me a magic clicker. Well, yes, I think it's true and fair to say.
Come on in and listen. Lost words you've been missing. Now the fire you're bearing, the eye of the darkness, your light.
So you were drawn to stories early on.
My dreams would light up my imagination,
And you had nightmares night and day.
yeah, but with the clicker I chased those frights away.
Who knew?
So true.
So here is the clue of hope to remember. Visions, they come true. Bend the light switch too. Show me the champion of light. I'll show you the herald of darkness. Lost in the never-ending night. Diving deep to the surface.
After 13 years and numerous development hurdles, Remedy Entertainment has finally delivered us Alan Wake 2. It is an astonishingly atmospheric game with a great sense of direction that looks absolutely beautiful. However, beauty, as some might say, is only skin deep. After crawling out of a lake buck naked and being sacrificed on a makeshift altar, a former FBI agent missing for over a dozen years regains the attention of his subordinates after showing up dead in the foresty town of Bright Falls in the Pacific Northwest. Special Agent Saga Anderson and her partner Alex Casey arrive at the scene to attempt to find out exactly what happened. I spent the first couple of hours of the game walking around the town before going to the morgue because I wanted to get to know the townspeople. Unfortunately, there's nothing to do. You can't interact with anyone at this point or even find equipment or items to carry around with you. After going to the morgue and being attacked by the body of the dead agent, now zombified, I was able to finally talk to some people in the town. And by some, I mean 3. A whopping 3 people in the whole town can be questioned, and they are all in the same vicinity. There's no exploring the town or finding any side quests. You just talk to these 3 people to get some information and an item, and then you leave. Later on in the game, I had acquired a flashlight that let me perform a charge attack at the cost of some battery power. This charge attack is used to deactivate paranormal enemy shields. I played the game on the hardest difficulty, meaning that I had to fight harder enemies, so I needed to use a charge attack quite often. The good news is that the batteries are relatively easy to find. However, on the harder difficulties, you may end up using a lot of your charge attack. I got to a point where I had to use my charge attack on a specific key item to deactivate a shield around it so that I could add it to my inventory. However, my flashlight was out of power and I didn't have any batteries left. I scoured the game for batteries for about an hour. Then I tried booting up a previous save file. The game only has 3 save slots at launch and no New Game Plus, which means that if you want to collect everything, then you have to do it in one go. New Game Plus was added later on as a free update. However, it not being available at launch left a sour taste in my mouth when I first got it. Since I couldn't find any more batteries and I needed them to proceed, this meant that I was soft-locked in this one area and I had to restart the game from the very beginning. This issue with soft-locking due to lack of battery power has since been fixed with a patch that gives your flashlight power if you boot up a previous save file while out of power. However, the fact that it was even an issue in the first place left a sour taste in my mouth. Around the 8-hour mark, I was finally able to look around and have fun. The environments are gorgeously detailed thanks to Remedy's Northlight engine. This being the first of their games not to be released on the 8th gen consoles meant that they could push the power of their engine to its fullest. Alan Wake 2 is full of references to Remedy's other games. There is so much detail in the environment that I almost had more fun watching the game than I did playing it. The way the colors of the trees change depending on where you are standing relative to the sun as the game fills the screen with a slight tint of brown or orange color is just one example of the detail in Alan Wake 2. There is also quite a variety of colors depending on your location. In the town of Bright Falls, everything appears uplifting and soothing when the sun sets in the background. In contrast, while playing as Alan in the confines of his mind while trying to escape a dimly lit New York City, the game is dark and dreary but makes up for it by oozing personality. The combat is fun and borrows a lot from Resident Evil 4 with its inventory system. You can carry a certain amount of guns, ammo, and health items that you can switch to in real time. You can also assign up to 8 items and guns to slots that can be accessed even quicker. The new dodge mechanic allows Alan or Saga to quickly shift themselves out of the way during incoming attacks. Some might find this makes the combat a bit too easy on harder difficulties, but on harder difficulties I felt that it evens itself out. At a certain point in the game's story, you can swap between characters whenever you want. Both Alan and Saga have interesting ways of traversing the world. While in the Dark Place, an alternate dimension created by Alan Wake's imagination, Alan can alter the world around him by finding clues that open up new paths by rearranging them in his mind. By the time I had finished my 25-hour adventure, I had looked back at what I had accomplished. The gunplay is great, the inventory system is fun to play with, and the story is exceedingly well told. However, a part of me kind of felt as though this game would be better off as a new IP from Remedy and not a sequel to Alan Wake. If it was just 12 hours of shooting zombies without all the backtracking and meta commentary, it could have been a really engaging, well-paced shooter. There is a substantial amount of content in Alan Wake 2, and while I believe it could have been more focused, the final product is a jewel of a game that only time will tell if it holds up. I wanted to say this game was a masterpiece, and it certainly has the potential to be one. However, the soft lock issue I mentioned, the lack of a New Game Plus at launch, the fact that it took 8 hours before it felt like I was doing anything substantial, and the lack of much interaction with the people of this town, seemingly brimming with life, held it back from being truly phenomenal.
And all your stories of crime and chilling thrillers of hard-boiled killers became bestsellers.
It was all too much, I had to get away.
The story's the end, all a piece of true fiction. They mean endless in the face of creation.
But there is more to it than meets the eye.
I never meant for it to ruin my life that way.
Would you say you lived a jaded lie?
Dark shades could never save the day.
So sad.
But true.
Fighting the nightmares, torching a light switch, a gift or a curse, a reality made of dreams. Show me the champion of light. I'll show you the hero he could write a new story like Tom Zane before him, and maybe they'd be happy once again. Just one shot, one more chance for him to save their marriage away from the city, a romantic getaway. He's a torchbearer, and he couldn't be much clearer. A war needs its warrior, true and right. The darkness within him held her hostage. Had he seen her drowning, would have saved her from the darkness of the lake. Show you the herald of darkness, lost in the never-ending night, diving deep to the surface. Such a dark place, am I trapped in here? Is this real? I cannot remember. There was a manuscript, it held a key, a vicious cycle I must not surrender to. Echo scenes to seek out again and again, until I figure it out, to bring this song to